Hey, it's Allie Edwards and welcome back to December Daily 2024. Today I am working on story number 4. My foundation page for today includes the back, or spaces I need to do things with today, include the back of yesterday's story number 3. So I've got some space there. You can see I actually already put a sticky note to myself, and this is from last night as I was thinking through a little bit about what I wanted to do. This links to this. So let's talk about this and then I'll talk about this. I guess that makes more sense. Okay, so my foundation page for today is this one. It's a transparency. It has half circles that create little pockets. This is from items in the main kit. This was one of the projects that I did and shared in product play. So I have the half circles act as a pocket there, and then I used the stencil and the gold stars to create these little ornaments. They have these cute little jump rings on them. And when I was initially concepting this page, you know, pretty simple, straightforward in terms of design. I also was looking at this pattern paper, this paper that was part of the prompt pack. And what it says in the middle is 4 joyful things, and it has the 1, 2, the 3, and the 4. So I set this in here, and I've had it here just as like, okay, do I want to pair this with this? How would that work? What do I want that to look like? And what I think that I'm going to do, and what I want to try to do here, is to actually cut this paper up and have the branches here in this shape kind of framing the circle. So my plan is to cut it out to the same shape as the ornament and then put that on the back, and then this is where I would document the joyful things. So there would be 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can also see that my initial idea was that I would add some of the perforated phrase strips from the main kit onto these, and that is still a part of the plan of what I would like to do. So steps for this one are going to include cutting these out in the shapes of those ornaments there. And then the other thing I was thinking is, since I have the back of this side, obviously it doesn't necessarily have to go with this at all, but because of how, you know, when you're looking at it and flipping through the album, what I want to do, I think, is just write 4 joyful things on here, or do some repeated text writing of 4 joyful things using one of my brush pens. That's my initial thought. Other things you could do here, you could put pattern paper here, you could put a photo here, you could do longer journaling potentially. Maybe in your own project you decide to add photos to the back. I'm actually going to end up having a no photo page today, so the decoration and the craftiness and the illustration of the story is going to come from the words, right? So I've got all these fun little elements, and then the words will be on the back of each of these. So someone could open it up and it could be either way. So probably when I photograph this, I'll photograph it so you can see some of the branches on there as well. All right, so that is what I am embarking on. So the story today is going to be 4 joyful things. I've been brainstorming a little bit. What are things that are bringing me joy right now? And honestly, they are very, very basic things, like having a hot bath. I've talked a little bit about how it's cold here. You know, it's all relative, obviously, depending on upon where you live. But it's cold here for us, and it has been, I find it like taking a bath is one of the best ways to warm up. And so definitely loving that. Also loving the coziness of my bed. So I'm kind of thinking about those sorts of things. Another joyful thing was listening to Anna share with me her Spotify list of the year, like where it quantifies what songs you listen to the most or who your favorite artist is. And she was sharing that with me this morning. And so I loved hearing that. So I'm kind of thinking maybe I'll add that in. So I'm just looking for little things that are bringing me joy right now. They might be Christmas related. They may not be Christmas related. You may decide to document just 4 things generally, right? You don't even have to use the joyful part. If you have this pattern paper and today the spark that comes to you is simply to use this prompt paper. If you don't want to document joyful things and you have something else you would like to focus on, you can easily just cover this up with another embellishment, right? It could be a star, it could be something else like that. I'm actually, like I've said, going to be cutting up this paper totally, so that's the direction that I am heading. All right, so diving into this one, first up for me is going to be using these ornaments as a template to cut out around the prompt paper there that has the little number on it. The first time I did it, I put the red dot on the top of the branches in the hole there so I could see it through the hole. The other ones I end up bringing it down just a little bit. It doesn't really matter exactly where it is. I'm just wanting some of the branches to come in, you know, around the entire circle. These are all hand cut. I hand cut these originally too. This was one of the pages or foundation page that I did for product play this year, and I used the stencil and some of our ink colors and a paper pouncer, which is an easy way to add ink to a stencil. These are things that I did in advance, and then cut them out with the white border just by hand. So I'm just hand cutting again, getting it as close as possible, not feeling like it has to be perfect. I do go back in after I adhere the prompt paper onto the ornaments. Then I go back in and trim them off a little bit again. One big reminder to you if you are doing something like this is that you want to make sure that you are turning the ornament over and using the back as the top part. So if you have the colorful part of the ornament on the top of the paper and you are cutting it out, then when you go to put the shape of the ornament on the other side, it won't fit exactly because you'll be turning it over. I hope that makes sense. Basically, make sure to turn your ornament over and lay it face down onto the prompt paper so that when you pull off your part that you cut right there, then you can just layer it right on top of the back. So that's one of those things I've learned from making mistakes. All right, so continuing to cut this out, I'm going to be using rolling adhesive, just my scrapbook.com rolling adhesive to adhere this down. You could use red line tape. You could probably use a glue stick if you wanted to. The rolling adhesive is the one that I tend to grab the most. So there I've got all 4 of them. Now I'm just going to go rolling adhesive on the top and then layer each one of the wreath circles on top, and then I'm also going to use I think I'm using a crocodile to punch the hole here, but that's still because my other We Are Memory Keepers hole punch is downstairs. I need to go get it. I was punching some more of those wood veneer stars to add onto my tree. So I'm going to repeat the same process there, just going ahead and adhering the prompt paper onto the back of each one of these, and then I will be doing the next steps in the process here. So just going along, you can see there where I'm trimming. If I see any of the extra, then I'm just trimming that part off there. All right, and then once I have all of those prompt papers adhered, I wanted to play around with using one of these Cardstock brush pens. I've had a lot of fun using them this year in a variety of projects, and so it makes a lot of sense for me to bring a little bit of this into this project as well. My intent here was simply to write 4 joyful things multiple times. So you could put your title on here, you could add additional journaling here, handwriting. I talked about some other options in the beginning of the video. I pulled out one of the gold stars, which is a nice link to what is on the other side of the ornaments. I have those gold stars on there. When I'm writing like this and doing text all over a surface, I don't worry too much if the word goes from one line to the next. That's not really a big deal for me. I'm going to add in another star here, and then I'm just going to fill in that extra little space with a smaller version of the 4 joyful things. Again, this is one of those spaces where I think you can be extra critical of yourself, especially if you're doing it with handwriting, or, you know, just I want to encourage the playfulness. I want to encourage also you bringing a little bit of your handwriting in at some point in the process of this. I think that, you know, handwriting is an individual, unique thing for each and every one of us, so it can be something that's really fun to bring in. I love underlining my handwriting, so that's what I'm doing there, including along the bottom, and embracing it for what it is, right? Messy handwriting. Like, that's part of the look of it and part of what I like. And I just like that it's like a big title for those 4 joyful things that I'm going to be documenting on the other side here. All right, so I decided that I did want to continue with the brush pen. So when I'm using the brush pen like this, I know that I'm going to be writing large, right? Because you can't write very small with these brush pens. And so I'm essentially doing just what I said at the beginning, where I'm identifying 4 joyful things. And the way that I'm telling this story is just by going with big words. Here are four places in my life and in my house right now where I am finding joy. So we did hot evening bath. That 100% is like the highlight of my day, I feel like. Hot evening bath. We're going to have my cozy bedding, I think, is the next one. Anna and I were also joking this morning about how we've reached the time of year where it's just extra hard to get out of bed, right? It just feels cozy in our beds and under the layers of covers. I'm a big blanket person. I like the weight of the blankets. And so this is a fun little way to document that. Then the third thing I'm adding on here, actually, before I do that, I decided to add these. I really love these gold number stickers. Yeah, I just really like them. So I decided to add those onto the half circle, like in the little space that's left from the bow there. So the felt bow, that's from the main kit as well. And then I'm going to add the number 4 on there just as another highlight. The little numbers are on top of the tags too, but I like repeating those numbers on there. So those are those number stickers from that number sticker set. So we've got the hot bath, the cozy bedding. We're going to have Anna telling me about what her top Spotify songs are. I actually want to do a page about this. I'm probably going to do just a regular scrapbook page because the main artist or her number 1 artist on Spotify, where they recap your playlist for the year, is Zach Bryan. And we just went and saw him last week. So I think I'm probably going to do a whole separate layout that talks a little bit about that, not probably in December Daily, but it's a nice reference to it because it was something special that happened today. It's very, it was just a nice conversation. I like talking to her about it. I love talking to her about music. The second song that she listened to most often was the song by Mazzy Star called Fade Into You, and that is a song that came out in 1993 when I graduated from high school, and it is a song that I used to listen to a lot, and so that just brings me joy too. So that whole conversation. So we've got the cozy evening, we got the cozy bedding, the bath, and then the last thing that I put that's bringing me joy is I'm making shepherd's pie today. And so I have the mashed potato portion of the shepherd's pie is in the crock pot right now as I am recording this. All right, so the other thing I'm doing here is I'm taking those perforated word phrase strips and I'm adding one each to the gold stars there. I also added them to the gold stars on my title card there with the four joyful things. And then each of the backs of the ornaments got them as well. So here you can kind of see how it all comes together. The colors poke through on the back, which I think what I'm going to do is not work off the back of this page tomorrow. I think I'm going to start a new page. And so I'm kind of excited about that. We'll see what story I tell tomorrow. And looking forward to seeing you guys back here again tomorrow.